Hello, friends. Welcome to the Thinning of the Veil podcast. I'm your host, Tia Smith. Now, for weeks and weeks and weeks, I have been saying that something new is coming to the podcast. And you may recognize Colette. She was on episode 37 and 38. And I have so much feedback, my friend, on those two videos in particular. Just your experiences were extraordinary in so many different ways. So thank you, first of all, for coming and sharing that. So we have Colette sitting here, and I'm announcing something new. So you may wonder what this has to do with the new stuff, and I'm super excited. But first of all, I wanted Colette to tell everyone what you've been up to, because this kind of lends itself to the new part that we're going to introduce today about the Thinning of the Veil podcast.
All right. I am so happy to be here. And, it's interesting that I was telling you, Tia, the other day that I don't think there's a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about those experiences that I've had. Um, they have just strengthened my testimony and of God and his hand in our lives. And I've been on a journey for probably, well, it started 20 years ago when I went to look for my first name. And about 8 years ago, I started on the journey to get an accreditation. And so I got accredited. I'm in the process of a second accreditation, which basically means I'm a professional genealogist. I specialize in Sweden and Norway. I've done a lot of other research. Well, over the last few years, I felt very prompted and very guided to be at the Family Search Library. And I would spend days and days in there. And I felt a prompting to apply for some jobs last year, and I didn't get them. And I was so discouraged because I thought, here I have been guided. I felt so strongly that I was supposed to do this and be in this place. And now in hindsight, I realized we wouldn't have been able to take the trip to Croatia. We wouldn't have been able to take the trip to England and Wales if I had gotten hired at the time that I had applied. So fast forward just a few weeks after we did our podcast, a temporary job at Family Search opened up, and it was in the US and Canada team. And I kind of brushed it off. And then my husband said, it's not going to hurt. Why don't you apply? Well, I got hired on the US and Canada team. And then a few months later, a position opened. And so as of that end of April, I am now a full-time employee at the Family Search Library on the US and Canada team, accredited in Sweden and on the way to Norway. So I think it fits with my bracelet. I may have talked about it before, but it was some words that God gave me in the temple a few years ago, but it says expect different. And that's one of my testimonies in the last few years is we have our plan, we have our idea of how things are going to go. And if we're willing to let him guide us, it'll probably be different than what we thought. So I am absolutely loving, I get a chance to be actually with the Nordic team part of the week and with the US team the rest of the time. And so I get to immerse myself in all of the things. I just feel I want to pinch myself every day that I feel like I've stepped into another realm of this gathering where I get to be a part of people that come from all over the state, all over the world, and get to be a part of their miracles. I just need to share this little experience that happened yesterday. Um, we had a lady come in, a missionary had been working with her, and then she called me over to see if I had any other ideas. And this was her, I think, great grandmother and grandfather, and they came from the Netherlands, and that's all she knew. She knew that and a year, but they had very Americanized names. They were not Dutch sounding at all. And so I just had this thought. Let's look at the full text search. We'll be talking a little bit about that later. We looked, didn't find anything. And then I had a thought to go to Ancestry. So we went looked to Ancestry, and there was a tree, and it had that couple with their Dutch names and the exact place in the Netherlands. And so I said, okay, this is a good secondary source. It's not like the original, but let's take it. Let's put the Dutch names in Family Search. So we put those as the main name. And then I had this thought, go look at MyHeritage. So we went to MyHeritage, and up the very first record that popped up was the birth and christening record for her grandmother. And she just started to cry. And then I said, okay, before you go, we need to add the parents in, at least get the parents in. She said she would be back. And we put the parents' names in, and all of a sudden they popped up on the tree. They had already been entered in. But
Oh,
when we noticed, but they weren't connected. And what I noticed is that the spelling of the United States of America was the Dutch spelling of the United States of America. So somebody over in the Netherlands has been working on that side of the tree. And all it took was connecting those two. And when we did the landscape view, it was several generations of green temples. And she was so overcome. And she asked her friend that was with her, she said, can you tell her the story? And she said that her husband had passed away a month ago. And this morning, before she came to the library, she said a little prayer. And she asked specifically that she would have her husband's help in being able to find the family. And I was overcome. And at that moment, I realized that morning in my prayers, I had specifically prayed to have angels round about me as I helped people at the library.
wow.
It was just absolutely incredible. So I get to see miracles every day. It's one thing when I get to have them in my own life, but it is a sacred place. That library is just a sacred place. Our homes are sacred places. Anytime we're doing this work, we're going to have and we're going to have spirits, angels around about us to help us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that lends itself to um the announcement. I You can tell Colette, oh man, she's she's very special to me. And we've kind of been on this journey together. I mean, you reached out to me and we were both like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what our future's going to look like. But man, we both love the gathering. And so I have gotten to the point where I am, my time is just so spread out. And I'm realizing, and also, I don't have the skills that Colette has. Whenever she says, I have a thought, oh my goodness, that's when stuff happens after that. Um, I was speaking at a conference. This is kind of how this came to bat or came about was that I was speaking at a conference and I needed a place to stay. And so I called Colette up and it felt like I'd already stayed at your house. Like we were just, old friends. And so she's like, yeah, that's great. Excuse me. And so I went to the Family Search Library, that sacred place. And when you walk in there, you can feel it. And she sat down to kind of help me. And she showed me this new AI tool. And within, I don't even know, like a couple minutes, she had found a family on my Danish side, which they'd been probably praying for forever because I have been ignoring that side because it scares the bejeebies out of me. So she just is like, "Oh, this and this, and I have a thought," and then she does this and this and this, and I was in awe of the whole thing. And not many minutes later, a whole family that I couldn't have found on my own was found because she knew how to navigate all of the technology that was required. So after that time, it just, I had a thought of maybe she could come on to the podcast and be the expert guru about the how-tos because I don't have the time, nor do I have the knowledge that she has. She is amazing. So what I've decided to do is to put in, it's called the Gathering Academy. And Colette and maybe some other people will chime in from time to time, and she will do short how-to videos on how to navigate family search and whatever else she feels like would be helpful. And then this part is also going to be super helpful. And this is on you, my friends that are watching, to comment in the comment section about what kind of videos you would like her to do. She literally has her finger on the pulse of everything that's going on in Family Search. And I've been grateful because she's like, and this is happening, and this is, and then she's talking about Roots Tech, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm your friend. I'm so glad you let me be your friend, Colette.
I'm
So,
glad God guided us to each other. I
you
really
know,
am.
it's not an accident, my friend. Man, why am I getting emotional? I'm just super excited about this because then I'm grateful I took it to Colette and we both have been pondering on it and in our short time to be able to connect with each other, decided that this would be great for the purpose of moving the gathering forward. So I'm just super excited about it. This will, I believe, change the way people navigate family search because there's a lot of people that don't even understand it. And
Yeah.
she said, she's really good at Norwegian and Swedish and Dutch, and she's just good at all the things, honestly.
I'm
So,
working on it. There's so much to learn.
oh,
It's
I'm
fun.
sure. I'm sure. So
Um,
she's not going to be, it's not going to be a weekly thing. It's clearly she has her hands full. So this is on top of, and I don't want this to be something that obviously takes away from that important work. So she will post when she can, but you will know that it is a how-to video because I'm going to change up the thumbnails and the way that it looks, and it will be under the playlist, The Gathering Academy. So super excited. Colette, do you have a quick how-to tip before we finish this really quick episode?
my number one how-to is, or my tip. This is what I always encourage people to do. I would assume that most of you that are listening use the Family Search app, and probably the majority of you have done ordinances ready. If you have not, we will talk about that in the future. But if you have, my encouragement is if you've done ordinances ready, you can go onto the app and you can scroll over to the temple and to go to completed, and you'll be able to see the names that you have just recently done. And then my encouragement is to go look at those names and see if there's anybody that is missing. Is there a spouse missing? Are there children missing? And focus on that family and see if you can unite that whole family. And if you're saying, well, I don't know what to do next, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the attaching sources. But if you have done the sources, that's your next step. And that is the simplest way to do family history. So many people feel overwhelmed with how busy their lives are. And all of us can take just a minute to just click and check.
Yeah.
Attaching a source is, I think I shared that in that episode, but my widow's mite story. I had 5 minutes. That's all. And lots of times, right before I'll go to bed, my husband's really good at it. Right before he goes to bed, he goes on there and he'll just look and reserve somebody. So it's easier than it's ever been.
Oh, that is an understatement. I remember trying to figure this out even 10, 15 years ago. I mean, family search wasn't even a thing. And they have literally, and I've said this before, it's literally just pushing the button. Just push this button and you will walk away 90% of the time with a name to take. And I love that hint. Don't leave just the one person, right? Because usually that person is connected to more. And she
Yes.
will go over on various different types of media, meaning your phone or the computer, because sometimes it's a little bit different between the two. So make sure you're commenting because really the goal of this is to hone in on what you as viewers where you're at and what you most would like a video about, a how-to video about. So, and know that Colette has it because she's amazing.
Oh, thank you. The other thing that I would encourage is that to share your names with the temple. As you find one, you may find seven. With some of the tips that we're going to talk about using AI, you will be shocked at how many people you can find, and you will find more than what you can do. And in the past, um, it's been so easy to just hold on to them and think, I'll get to them at some point. But my encouragement is that you share them with the temple, keep what you can do in the next 3 months, share the rest with the temple. And I tell people it's like sending them into the fast pass lane at Disneyland. They're in line, they're waiting for that ride, and they don't have to wait a long time. And then you can come back and pull those out. One of the directives right now, or the themes for the family history department of the church, is nourish the temple with names, and I love that. And so we've got so many temples that are in the works to be finished. And there's parts of the world where they cannot find their own family names, but they need names to do. They need your family names to do and to help you. So, as much as you can do that to help nourish the temple with names and share those names with the temple, you'll be blessing the lives of people all over the world that are getting new temples.
It's amazing what the Lord is doing. He's hastening his work, not only in building temples, but making technology available. He's using, AI has been created and it can be good and it can be bad, but within the genealogical, uh, I guess, site of AI, it's blowing it up in so many different ways.
Well, I remember we were in Boston a few years ago, probably 10 years ago, maybe even more, and President Ballard was speaking, and he said in coming years there will be great miracles that will come out of Silicon Valley. And I remember thinking, what in the world? What's that going to be? And I
Yeah.
tell people at the library regularly, I quote President Nelson, eat your vitamins and buckle up. And that's what we're experiencing. We are finding records that would have taken 10, 20, 30 years to find, and you'd have to get a microfilm and scroll through it. And now with the use of technology, families are just coming out of the woodwork. So it's so exciting. It's just I feel so blessed to be a part of this work and to be here in where the headquarters of the church are, and to see the temple that's about to be rededicated in a couple of years, and it's pretty amazing.
Oh, it's amazing in so many different ways. I mean, we both have our tennis shoes on. Even just trying to connect because we're so busy with the gathering, has been extraordinarily difficult. It's just because the work is moving forward at an accelerated pace. And if you choose to be involved, you are going to have the opportunity to move forward at whatever pace you want because it literally is on fire. So, thank you, my friend, for joining us. I hope you're all super excited about that. Remember to leave uh, some suggestions in the comment section so that Colette can kind of hone in on what's going on. And we're super excited to see what's going to happen. I think that this is just going to be a huge deal for all of my listeners and encourage others to also watch because I wouldn't want to learn from anyone else because she's amazing. So, thank you, my friends, for joining me. Thank you, Colette. I'm sure we'll see you soon again. We got to stay connected. It's all good.
Okay,
Figure it
sounds
out.
good.
Okay. See ya. Bye. Hello, friends. I'm jumping on right here at the end because, as all the time, this podcast is always in flux. And I just wanted to, I guess, lay out what you can expect as the viewer in what this podcast is going to look like moving forward. I feel like I've been taking so many deep breaths lately because this thing has been happening so quickly and so fast. I'm clearly excited about the Gathering Academy. This was born out of a revelatory experience with Colette, and the Lord just said, maybe this is the next step. And so I moved forward having faith, and here we are today, and I'm so grateful for Colette. She will be the main contributor for right now in the Gathering Academy. As we said, she works at Family Search. She has access to all the new things. In fact, she has sent me so many new things already that's in the process. And I'm telling you, they're so exciting. And I also have another friend sharing new exciting changes to Family Search is going to make things easier and easier, as if it could be any more easier. But there are so many things. So buckle up your seatbelts. Just know that it's constantly changing. I wanted to let you know kind of what to expect during the week of the podcast. On Mondays, I will just simply do a post that will give me enough time to upload the rest of the stuff for the week. So it will be a simple post. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. All of the links of that are in the description. I hope you're understanding that I'm using the description to give a lot of directionary information so that you know how to find me on different platforms. Tuesday will be the episode of doctrinal teaching and or the guests that we have on and testifying of their own thinning of the veil experiences. Wednesday is going to be the story that I relate for the week, a thinning of the veil story. Again, I encourage you to send in whether it's your own or your ancestors. I especially encourage those who are watching in different countries and in different languages. I would love to hear about your thinning of the veil experiences. It doesn't matter if you can't speak English, send it to me in your native tongue. And the great thing about technology these days is we can translate it, and that way people can hear what's happening all around the world. Because I know that there are thinning of the veil experiences happening to others. I just hope that you'll send those in to me at tia@thinningoftheveil.com. The next day after Wednesday is Thursday. Clearly. I'm sorry. This is just, oh my gosh, this has just been a crazy leading up to this. But Thursday is going to be the Gathering Academy Day, where the how-to videos will be posted. Now, just a caveat with that, realize that myself and Colette and future guests that I will be having on, we have our own lives. Colette has a full-time job. She's a mom. She's a grandma. I'm also in a similar situation. I don't necessarily work full-time and get paid for it. I work full time and don't get paid for it, I guess, through the podcast, but I'm loving this walk with God. So it may or may not happen every Thursday. We're not quite sure. Again, I encourage you to send in what you want us to focus on, and that way we can be more precise at what we're offering to people, and they're wanting to know how they can up their family history skills. So please put that in the comment section. Friday will be another doctrinal talk each week that adds to our understanding of the doctrine of the gathering. And then Saturday will be a short that I have put together during the week that applies to the gathering in some way, shape, or form. And Sunday is my rest day, because boy, do I need it. So that's what you can expect for the calendaring, so that you know. And really, it's just easier if you just subscribe to the channel, because you will get notified every single time something comes out. Whether it's a post, whether it's a short, whether it's the Gathering Academy or story, I mean, all of it, you'll get notified. And subscribing really, really helps this channel be visible to other people. We are slowly gaining more and more viewers and visitors who are interested in the gathering and who are having thinning of the veil experiences. What I will tell you is that if you're watching on a different platform like Apple or Spotify or iHeartRadio, these how-to videos, you're going to want to be watching it. The easiest way to do that is to view it on my YouTube channel. So once you get to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/thinningoftheveil, again, all these links are in the description. You will go to my video section. There will be a subsection called the Gathering Academy that you can scroll down and find them there. But I just want you to be aware that those of you who are coming from a different platform and or new to the channel, how you know it's a video version is that the thumbnail will fill up the full screen. I have a podcast version of the same episode, and that is only a half filled up screen with the thumbnail. So if you go to my video section, for those of you who get lost sometimes, just always go to the video section and you can scroll through and you can see either the podcast version or the video version. Now, also, if you don't want to do that, then in the description of every single video, whether you're listening on a different platform or not, I use a link to link you to the video version of every single video. So please check the description out. I use that quite a bit to help alleviate some of the information that takes time. That's why I'm taking time right now at the end, so that you can kind of get up to speed on everything that's going on. And then also, finally, I'm just grateful for those who have donated. Those people who have donated, whether it's monthly or just a single amount, I cannot tell you how much this has helped, especially putting the Gathering Academy together. It would be very difficult for my husband and I to pull this out of our own budget, all of it. And so I'm grateful that those of you who donated, just know that those are sacred funds to me, and I use those funds to help move the podcast forward and make it more available and look better and flow better so that everyone can find whatever it is they're looking for within the Thinning of the Veil podcast. So know that there are still probably more changes coming, especially to the website. But if you want to donate, there are links in the description to Venmo, PayPal. If you want to do a monthly subscription in any form, I think $3 is the lowest amount. You can find that on my website at thinningoftheveil.com. That's also going to be updated in the next little while. That's my next thing on my plate that I'm trying to work through and figure out. So, one more thing, the Gathering Academy thumbnail is going to look different than the other thumbnails that you see for the Thinning of the Veil podcast. I did that on purpose because I would hope that you can even just glance visually and know that that is a how-to video versus a story or doctrine or interview. So I hope that's all clear as mud. But know that I'm just super excited. I just feel like this walk with the Lord has pushed me to my limits some days. It continues to do so. But I feel like that He is allowing, giving me spiritual gifts that make me equal to this task, especially in the whole sense and realm of technology. I am grateful for His uplifting hand in helping me navigate this very complex journey that I find myself on. And thank you to all of you who tune in every week and who are spreading the word about this podcast to others around the world. This thing is truly global. And I just really want to acknowledge all of my global friends. I see you, I know you, and thank you for your involvement in this podcast. I will be trying to find guests who are capable of teaching various different country family search tips, like Mexico, Latin America. I'm hoping like Sweden, Denmark, all of those things, so that we can find all of our ancestors, not just the low-lying fruit. That, my friends, is my most favoriteest part, is searching and seeking and Sherlocking and finding those who were completely lost before I was able to put the pieces of the puzzle together and find them. So this Thursday, check for another how-to video. It's Colette introducing herself. And tomorrow will be another story, and I'm going to be celebrating Pioneer Day. The only state that celebrates it is Utah, but for us, it's kind of a big deal around here. So I'm going to tell an ancestor story that relates to that. And then the Gathering Academy on Thursday. Friday is another really cool talk that I'm excited about. Saturday is a short. It's Wilford Woodruff's vision of Joseph Smith. And then we just keep on this trek that we're all making together. So thank you for joining me. that is the layout. Check out the description of every video. It's super helpful. And if not, shoot me an email and say, I'm not understanding at all what's going on. And I will try to answer the questions as much as I can. So have a great week and day, and we'll see you tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And hopefully you won't get too sick of me and what's happening, because I'm super excited about it. And I know the Lord is in the details of all of it. So have a great week, my friends. We'll see ya. Bye.